Hello, social media friends. Welcome to tonight's episode of Real Living in Bolingbrook. And for all of you watching, myself included, I'm not watching, but I'm certainly communicating with you. Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness tax day is behind us. Oh my gosh. Hopefully enough of you didn't do what I did, which is I waited until the last minute to finish things, button it up, and then hit the electronically file. So it is what it is. It's always a day where, you know, for half of us, it's like, hey, can't wait for it to come because maybe you were expecting a big tax refund. And for the other half, you can't wait for that day to come, don't want it to come because guess what? Maybe you have to let go of some money to drop in Uncle Sam's lap. So all of that being said, let's welcome my co-host Greg into tonight's conversation.
Hey,
hello, Greg.
How are you? How you doing?
I'm good.
How you doing, Brook? Good. Awesome.
So did you get your taxes filed well before of tax day, or?
I did. So I had it electronically filed, but I waited until the 15th to put the check in the mail.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why not, right? Hang on to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hang on to it until the very last minute.
Right.
So, Greg, for tonight's episode, like we always do, why don't you lead off with sharing from your perspective as a local real estate broker, some current trends, what is going on as far as a market update?
All right. So one of these days, I promise you, I'm going to come on here and talk about how things are turning around, inventory spiking, prices are going down. You can have your pick of whatever house that you want out there. Unfortunately, though, that's not going to be today. We're seeing, and if you've watched the last couple of episodes where I went through the numbers, we're seeing more of the same and even a little bit tighter. To give you an example, when I look at the homes for sale in March of 2023, there was 84 homes. This is just in Bolingbrook. Okay. There was 84 homes available for sale. So 84. So come to March of this year, we're down to 66 homes available. That's a pretty big percentage jump down as far as what's available. As far as new listings on the market. So these are all the homes that are coming on the market in Bolingbrook. So what I just told you were the ones that are still available. So you can choose from those 66. The other ones are all under contract. So in March of last year, we had 1,100 homes that came on the market. And this year in March, we have 900. So we're down 200. So with that, then you would think that, hey, price per square foot is probably going up. And it has been going like crazy. So as of March of 2023, it was $172 per square foot. And for March of this year, we're at $188. Wow. And it's going up. There's not 1 month that is showing any kind of stopping. It's going up. Got it. So the values are going up. Inventory is still low. It's still shrinking. Multiple offers are are still very, you're likely to get into a multiple offer situation within days.
Yeah.
So that whole time frame is crazy. Now, I was listening to somebody talk about the spike in REO or bank-owned, foreclosures.
Okay.
So I wanted to look in Bolingbrook to see what that looks like as far as foreclosures go in Bolingbrook. And they're right. So foreclosures from 2021 has tripled in Bolingbrook.
Wow.
But let me put
But
things I'll put things into perspective. In the year of 2021, we had one foreclosure,
okay.
and now we have three.
Triple. There you go.
Yes, you got to be careful of the wording that you hear, because you hear things like the doom and gloom about how foreclosures are up 150%, okay, or 200%, whatever. It's like, yes, going from like 2 homes to 4 homes,
Right.
but
In other
still,
words, yeah. In other words, the percentage, there is a backstory behind that.
yes,
Percent gain from what number?
yeah, absolutely. So foreclosures are just not an issue in this area, in all of this area, in all of Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
Not an issue. You're going to see some. You're actually even going to see some short sales, but it's just not, not a normal thing going on right now. Not like in 2008.
So what you're kind of telling all of us watching and listening to this is it's a great time to sell.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get top dollar, for sure. You'll get top dollar. You'll get people in the door very quickly, and probably multiple offers. And that is only, and I will say this as a listing agent, you might be thinking, hey, it's a great time to sell. I can sell my house in 2 days. I can just put it on the market myself and, get an offer within a couple of days. That may be true. You might be able to put it on the for sale by owner and get a contract within 3 days. But think about what you would be losing. In other words, instead of getting 1 contract, how about we get 8 contracts? Right. Instead of, pricing your home out correctly, you price your home out accurately and how it should be, how it should be priced. But not only that, the marketing that is done to get the buyers in. So when I put a home on the market, I create a prior frenzy of buyers. And I already have a book of business of buyers that I've created just for your listing. So when I advertise it on social media using squeeze pages and landing pages, advertising it on other social media accounts, I'm accumulating a whole vast group of buyers. Yeah. And then when I even list the home on, let's say, a Wednesday, gearing up for Saturday showings, a lot of times we don't allow showings for a couple of days. So no showings on Thursday, Friday. Saturday, come on in. Yeah. And we get just a massive amount of people through. We get a massive amount of contracts within that first weekend. The reason why I tend to go live on Wednesday, but I tend not to want to take any offers in right away, because you will get 1 offer in that day and they are going to want a response within 24 hours. Sure. And it's like, okay, this is a good offer. Yes, it is full price, but you were the first showing, the only showing. I want 30 people to come through. Right, so that's what, doing it through the weekend, that's what allows me to gain the most leverage when I'm figuring out, what contracts are the better ones.
So what you just dropped for me is there's value in engaging a professional real estate broker. Why? Because you're not only giving to me, a seller, 1 buyer, you're creating a plan A, plan B, C, D, E, and F.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, so I've been in real estate for 20 years.
Yeah.
I did mortgages before that, so I've always been kind of in the real estate industry. And I always joke about it that, every time that I think that I've seen every situation, another one pops up.
True.
And, it's kind of true as we think about this market that we're in right now. Before 2020, I got my license in 2006. I've seen it all. I've seen a buyer's market. I've seen a seller's market. I've seen an REO, short sales, when those things were prevalent. I've seen it all. Nope. Here comes 2020.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. COVID throwing the COVID curveball at us. All right.
yeah.
So the first piece of advice you've dropped for a seller, and that is avoid the mistake of DIYing for sale by owner. What's a few more mistakes to avoid as a seller?
Let's see. So yeah, I would for sure avoid DIY. I mean, most people can DIY, do it yourself. I don't know, whatever. You can do it themselves. Most things. I fixed my air conditioner myself 2 years ago.
Okay.
But it's not done very good.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a Band-Aid to get it through the year.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you do stuff like that and you do the job yourself, lay down wood floors, a lot of times you make some pretty bad mistakes. This is one of your investments that's the largest investment.
Sure.
And you can for sure, I'm 100% convinced, get a lot more money if you sold it with somebody who knows how to sell a house, negotiating, create the panic with the buyers, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So another one would be, I would say, pricing errors.
Yeah.
So what I usually do is when I go to a home, I ask the seller to give me a tour of their home.
Right.
I walk around their home. I take notes. I tell them things that I would do and not do. And then I sit down at their table with them, with my computer. I have a double screen. So I let them keep a screen and I have a screen. And we look at the comps right there in that neighborhood that sold in the last 6 months, similar square foot, all that kind of stuff. And then I look at the finishings of the homes to make sure that they're both, equal. And then I'll deduct or add or whatever. And I'll come up with a price range of where I think that your house you would want to list in.
Yeah.
When you make the pricing error, it's usually almost always going in too high. And buyers, being as savvy as they are, they don't buy, and you start reducing the price. And every time you do that, it's just you're going to sell it at the end of the day for less than what you could have sold. Yeah, because if you price it in the right range, you get all the eyeballs that are looking for that $500,000 house. Well, you price it at $550,000, and that's out of range. So you get all those eyeballs on it, and just a much more likelihood of getting a good price. So I would say price would be a big one. Another one would be neglecting to do the simple, easy, inexpensive fixes of the home. Nobody likes the dark red walls or the orange walls anymore, the pink room, pink carpeting. There's a lot of that going on. Yeah, I've done a lot of that. And what will happen is my sellers will say, well, how about we just give them a credit of $3,000? No, they're not coming in here. Yeah. If they see the pink carpet in the pictures, they're not coming in.
Yeah. So they don't want to waste their time.
Yeah. So spend a little bit of money to neutralize the home, make it nice. And, but that's a big one.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are some great, very intentional tips and advice of mistakes you don't want to commit to sellers, all of you watching who are thinking about selling. And so as part of our episode tonight, let me share another perspective of why there's certain things you just should not DIY. By the way, this is a previously recorded conversation. So allow me to play it back for you and enjoy for the next, 5 minutes or so. Here goes. Are you wondering, like her, how can you create your new space to be what you want, to have the colors that motivate you, and of course, to give it that fresh new look? And if you might be thinking about, this is exactly what I want to do, and I'm about to purchase and acquire my next home, wherever that might be, whether it's your first home, your second vacation home, perhaps you, like her, you're wondering, who can help me with that project? For today's recording, I am graced with a new relationship who is a painting contractor who runs a business that has spanned 3 decades, probably even 4 decades by now. And I'm just so excited today to share with you my conversation with him as to what he does, why he does what he does, and of course, how can you benefit from his information. So let's welcome him into the room. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning, William. How are you?
I'm doing well. As I joked with you before I led in to introduce you as best as I could, I teased you with the fact that, hey, we got lucky today. We both were able to get our schedules aligned so that you're not going up and down ladders, scaffolding, and maybe cracking your whip with your painting crew. Am I right?
That's about it.
Well, good to know that. So for today's conversation, Peter, as you heard from the introduction and from that, gorgeous woman kind of scratching her head, wondering, hey, who can help me create what I have in my mind, you, Peter, and your business, in my professional opinion, you're probably a sought after resource right now.
Yeah, we are. Been around for a long time, and worked under my father, who was a master of decorative painting. He earned a master's degree in Vienna, Austria.
Wow.
Worked under him for 22 years, and then tragically, one day he had a heart attack and passed, and it's been 18 years since that event. And since then, I've carried on the business, held it up well, and we're pretty much focusing on handling projects and custom homes. I'm really not doing a lot of commercial work. I really focus on people's private homes. And we're a small boutique painting company, just the two of us, and we fit well. I'm not interested in having a bunch of guys to keep busy constantly, and that just changes the whole dynamic of the way it started with my father and I. So it started with two guys, my father and I, and then to this day, it's still two guys. And we manage to keep busy all the time because there are people who just like things done the way we do them. And we're very thorough about our process. And attention to detail is pretty much the cornerstone of the business. And realistic timeframes are also something that I pride myself with.
I love the sound of that. That last part, and then the previous 2 points. Hitting the mark, delivering to the outcome on time. But I think one thing you touched on that I find to be what I call the unicorn in your business is attention to detail, right? Yeah. So let's come back to that in a little bit. But first off, here's my first question. And I am certain you may be asked this question whether or not you like it, whether or not you think like, oh my gosh, here's that question again. And the question is, when should someone hire a professional painter like you rather than do it yourself?
Well, first of all, like any profession, and painting is a profession,
Right.
You know, a professional painter has years of experience with a skill set that he or she carries around with them at all times. A do-it-yourselfer does not have that kind of skill set nor the experience to bring to the job. So therefore, you're just not going to be able to get as good of results. And let's face it, the end goal to any job is getting the best results and making the property, home look its best.
Sure.
So if you have the skill set, you know how to go about it. And the tools are a necessity too. Believe it or not, in the painting business, it's not just a roller pen and a few brushes and you've got the tools. There's quite a bit involved. There's different scale ladders, there's scaffolding, there's spray equipment. The list goes on. I can just go on and on and on. And it even extends into the wall covering business because painting and wall covering are kind of brother and sister businesses. So we do both, and that's a very important thing for us to stay busy. But I don't want to get off track here, but when somebody wants to do a project, he or she really needs to ask themselves, do I have the skill set to do this?
Right.
Do I have the tools to do this?
Right.
And do I have the time to do this? And do it well?
Yeah. Just like you said, Greg, those three questions that he shared with me in that recorded conversation is spot on. There are certain things you just cannot do it yourself because you're not going to get the outcome that you expect, right? And in his business, there's certain equipment that unless you have it, if you run around, have to buy it, and then you have to store it, it's kind of like, well, did you just sink a bunch of money for one event that you're not going to get a big return on that investment?
Right.
Yeah. So, audience members, as we wrap up tonight's episode, just like Peter Franz and Greg Vandenbroek have shared with you, don't do certain things by yourself. Perhaps don't even do it yourself. Hire a professional because the outcome will be exactly what you want. And if you are looking to engage a professional like Greg to help you with your next chapter, to help you move to the next home, all you have to do is scan the QR code that you see next to his name. And along the way, should you need financing, unless you're paying cash for that next real estate purchase, certainly scan the QR code next to my name. Both Greg and I are ready, willing, and able to start a conversation with you to help you get to that next chapter. So, Greg, have a good evening tonight. The day has kind of set right now. We're getting more daylight, but at this point on a Wednesday night, hey, we still got some time left to do the things that we want to do.
Yeah, right.
All right. So, audience members, until we see each other in the next episode of Real Living in Bolingbrook in about 3 to 4 weeks. Peace out.
All right. See ya.